About 10 minutes. Although it doesn't cycle, seem to work here. So
they know you're not just a paper.
You can speak during public time.
Yeah, let's make this 5 out of 6 this year.
This is fine.
Take your seat.
And I can get to meet it. Yeah.
I have an extra. Were you looking for the agenda? Were you looking for the agenda? I have an extra.
Okay. You have to have like an
Oh, that's Julie's daughter, who is the deputy clerk. Oh, Julie's.
Evidently not here to tax check. Right, you have to show up at people's house and say, hey, I left the tax check.
We keep it in the family.
I didn't hear that.
Family business. Rather than child business.
5:30, we'll call the Mayfield Township Board meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's one addition to the agenda, which is approval of a special meeting for June 30th and June 9th. So, those are copies of it.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Both, or
For both of them.
anything on the 30th?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is passed. No treasurer's report. Okay, public time, public time. Go ahead, Les.
I think it bears repeating that I personally can believe that our township board members ran for office out of a desire to serve our community. But somehow over the years, things have gone a bit wrong. Communication with the community has seriously deteriorated. Citizens lose trust when their government officials act in secrecy, refusing to provide information or answer questions. I've been in communication with a number of our citizens, and I believe I have a good understanding of some of the issues that concern them. And I have some simple suggestions that I think would help improve communications between this board and its constituents. I would welcome the opportunity to meet with each of the board members to discuss these solutions. I urge each of you to get back to the goals that you had in running for office.
Next, Kurt.
I was involved in a, call it traffic mishap on Farnsworth Road back on, I believe, the 16th of June. And I was billed $2,500 when nothing was even required. I mean, I got a fire report, and they had ambulances called, and no one, I was not even calling for any of it. All of a sudden, people just showed up. And the only assistance I got was a hand to get me out of the cab. And Jayme has copies of all this stuff, the report that took place. And I would, instead of the $2,500, maybe I got automobile fire, and there wasn't even a fire. Fire department wasn't needed. The ambulances weren't needed. but they got a charge for could get $1,500, or way down here, they've got an officer's, duty officer response of $250. Okay, I can accept the $250, but $2,500 when nothing was even done, required? E&L Towing came and I paid him cash to get me out of the ditch. And no vehicles were damaged, nothing was, nothing took place. Cars just went on down the road. Somebody in their cell phone must have went like that and said, oh, there's an emergency. But did they even stop and check? There's no emergency. There's 2 people in a car, that's all. Nobody hurt, nobody injured, and I would hope that the township would amend this cost and knock it down anyway. So maybe the $250, yeah, or $50, whatever here.
We'll look into it. I'll look into it for you.
Thank you. Oh.
Okay, next, go ahead.
You're probably aware that in 2023, there was a group of citizens who sought to remove or restrict access to books in the Lapeer District Library. Books and materials that they personally found objectionable. They were unsuccessful, but 4 of those folks have since made their way to the library board, and one of them is the Mayfield Township appointee. Library trustees have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the library in all matters, but especially in financial matters. These 4 trustees appear to be putting their personal interests in front of the interests of the library. In March, these 4 trustees fired the library's law firm after receiving a legal opinion they didn't like. Then they hired a Lapeer law firm saying they wanted to spend their tax dollars locally. In the first 3 months since they hired that local lawyer, that firm has billed the library $14,480.53. About $9,000 of that is related to research, in other words, learning what the previous lawyer already knew. They're researching library law and they're researching FOIA procedures. Many of the additional charges appear to be related to personal interests of the chair. Now, if you look at what was budgeted for the year, the entire year's legal services budget was $4,800. It was based on legal charges from the previous attorney over the last few years. But it only took those 4 board members 5 minutes. No discussion about why the bill was so high to move ahead and increase this year's budget for annual legal services to $24,800, which is 5 times what was previously budgeted based on the other attorney's charges. Then in June, those same 4 trustees who wanted to keep our tax dollars local, they made a big deal about that when they switched attorneys, voted to send our tax dollars to the left coast, to a California firm called Summit HR, when they already had 2 other firms from Michigan who wanted the work. It's not really clear why, because that proposal that Summit HR submitted was nothing more than a contract. It was 5 pages, didn't tell anything about who they are, what they do. The vice chair is the person who recommended them, and he couldn't answer questions about them, and sadly, he couldn't even remember who he had talked to at the firm. It just seems really odd when you hear those types of things, yet those 4 trustees, boom, hands went up, voted for Summit. That's particularly troubling when you know that Yo & Yo, and most of you have probably heard of Yo & Yo, it's a big Michigan firm. They would have cost about the same as Summit. One of their packages was actually less than Summit's. If they had gone with Pivot Group, which did the last search for them, they had a guarantee. So they would not have charged them anything. 0, zip, zilch.
except for the cost of advertising. And that was pointed out to them. Yet those 4 trustees, whoop, nope, we're going with Summit, some group out of California, and we don't even know who they are. So, my concern is that we've got 4 trustees on that board that are pursuing personal interests with our tax dollars. And because one of them is your appointee, I hope that you will take a look at the packets I gave the supervisor and think about the kind of decision-making that they're demonstrating right now. Thank you very much. And if anybody else wants a packet, I have extras.
So I wanted to note that the reason that you gave earlier this year for canceling a meeting was nothing on the agenda, even though there were several meetings last year with nothing on the agenda, just like today, nothing on the agenda. So maybe we come up with a better reason, even though there should have been things for that agenda. By my account, and maybe I'm wrong, but Dan Frisch, I think, has been absent 5 out of 6 meetings of the regular meetings this year. So no financial report, he's absent 5 out of 6. And those financial reports continue to be problematic. I want to make sure you know how far this is starting to reach here, this camera. So, and you may not see it because some of it happens on Facebook, and then like for the annual meeting, I had 2 different versions of that on YouTube. 1,000 people have watched the annual meeting so far. 500 in like one day watched it, which is a lot. And I thought things would start to drop off. Like 400 people are watching planning commission meetings. It is incredible. I just do this to kind of share with people so they can see. It's kind of amazing. And what videoing gives us is I can, before every meeting, I will watch, just like I did this afternoon after work, I watched last month's meeting. And it felt like 3 years have happened since then because so many things have happened. But I just couldn't yet again get over the contempt with which Engelman and Julie Schlaud treated members of the public. You can disagree on things. You can be angry that someone asks a question that feels like it's challenging your authority. But there are very professional ways to do that. And if you go to other township meetings, you may see good examples of that. I saw one this morning. So yeah, get out there, watch, learn. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Sure. Kyle, live in Mayfield. So I'm going to start with Julie, who isn't here today apparently, so I'm sure somebody can relay the message. She made a comment at the annual meeting saying that's how we've done it for 20 years when somebody had a complaint. Just because you've been doing something doesn't make it right. You can change and you can progress with the times. So I'd highly recommend maybe telling her that. Dave, you had mentioned that we are to go to our neighbors and tell them to clean their yards up. That's not my job to do, to go to my neighbor and tell them to clean their yard up and pick it up and make them mad at me. It's your job to go there and make them mad at you. So I would suggest you go around the township and maybe do that. You can start with the party store across the street from my house. It looks like garbage. We're going to go with Chris Maasch next. You have voted no for the gas station in the planning commission meeting and then voted yes in the board meeting. We like to call that a flip-flop. You're going to get a kickback on the grass cuttings with the 6-inch weed ordinance. I'm sure your company is going to be doing the work. And then we're going to end with the airport. You've pushed every single, maybe not this board in particular, but every board that's been in here for probably the last 20 years that I've lived in this township has pushed every single avionics company out of that airport because you don't want to do the maintenance on the runways. I've talked to some pilots, and that is what they said. Lapeer Aviation pulled out because nobody wants to do, you want them to do the maintenance on the airport. I've also heard a rumor that KMAX is going to be buying it. I don't know if said rumor is true, but if it is, maybe you guys were pushing Lapeer Avionics out on purpose. They have since bought another plane and are growing, so I don't know, you guys keep asking for more money. Maybe if you can keep industry and business here in our township, maybe then you will deserve the more money you're asking for. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay.
I'll say something. I'll say something.
No old business?
One more.
She had her hand up.
Sorry. I just wanted to add that your representative on the library board is one of 3 women who have consistently harassed the library director, the former library director, Amy Churchill, the following library director, Danielle Brigatti, and now the children's librarian, Mary Cowes, to quit, harassed them to quit. And the reason that the library board did not want to go with Pivot for their HR search, for their director search, is because they would have to say to Pivot, well, the reason that you have to offer us the search for free is because we harassed the person you brought to us out of office. And I just don't think that's anything to be proud of.
Okay. Again, no old business, no new business. Committee reports, GLT board meeting was canceled by the director or the chairman. This is payment of the bills, which we don't have. Represented, so. Next, the adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Motion's passed.
Oh, heck no, please, 4 minutes and 30 seconds is the record. And that was with the public comment.
Is this where you work highlighting?
No, we're not.
Well, here's it. They didn't take it. Take that home and take it. Identify somebody who will run the whole, slate of people that will run. You know, she'll run for treasurer, but.
I'm gonna run. I wasn't where I lived, didn't I?
Trustees, first we have almost nothing.
Oh, I know, but
First part
I have a
of
job, so I try to hold them down as best as I can.
Because
restricting or reviewing books and the attorney.
That I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna do a little more research, try to figure that out.
Every issue.